Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new video. This time I want to do or give some tips on how I approach batch painting when I have to paint big units. So in that case we are talking here about 20 blood rivers, and you can see that the ones in the front line are more advanced than the ones on the back line. So the first thing I try to do is I divide always in blocks of 5 or in blocks of 3, depending how difficult is the unit. So I try to subdivide these big units in smaller blocks. Okay, and then I paint first all the base colors in the units. I do all the washes in this 5, and when I'm in the mood that I want to do more mechanical painting, not to think too much, that more just then I start doing the base colors on the rest of the guys. So, but before doing that, the first thing that you have to do is to have a test miniature. So when you do batch painting, I think it's important to start with a test miniature, where you know how to apply the colors and how the colors will look like. So in that case, I was using the blood rivers I paint from Shadespire as a testing miniatures. Okay, so once you know how the colors combine, how they will look like, then you are ready to start painting, and then you have to know exactly the order on how you're going to paint. Normally the order that you will follow is the normal that you will follow in any miniature. I go from the most difficult part to the most exposed part. So for example, in the case of these blood rivers, I start with the skin. It's the part that is deeper. Then I will do the clothes, I will do the belts, the armor plates, and the last things that you are going to do are the weapons, that are the most exposed things. And the approach I do is I do base colors, then I do washes, and later on I do highlights. But here is I follow different approaches. For example, when I do base colors, and first I did these 5 guys on the front. I did all the base color on these 5 guys, and then I did the washes on these 5 guys. While you are waiting that the wash is drying, I start doing the base color on the guys at the back. And as you can see, because I want to go for different different color tones, I paint them a little bit differently. What is also giving me an idea how they will look like. I put them together and see how the unit is matching all together. So the other thing it's important for me when I do batch painting is to combine the batch painting with the painting of other miniatures in detail, or do one miniature to the end. For example, you can see this guy is finished. Why? Because if I'm in the mood that I want to do more detailed work, I want to do highlights, I want to pay more attention, I start working on just one miniature. Once I'm more on a rush, or I don't want to pay too much attention, I want to go more for fast paint job, then I start applying base colors on the other guys. In that way, for me it's a trick to combine the tedious work of doing all the base colors and then all the washes and then all the highlights, to combine this with some regard. So you give you sometimes the regard or the reward to finish one miniature. I'm more advanced on this guy. The other thing is when you go to highlights, especially these guys that will have different tones, skin tones. Normally, when I start doing the highlights, I prefer to focus on just one miniature to see how all the highlights are looking together. I prefer to do all the highlights, for example, on this guy, and then I will do the highlights on this, and then so what I do is first I do all the base colors, no, all skins, all reds, all browns, all metals, okay? Then I do the washes. But when I go to highlights, I prefer to focus on one miniature, do one miniature to the end, then I go to the next miniature and go to the end. When I'm a little bit tired of edge highlighting, or I'm a little bit tired of blending and so on, because sometimes you want to do something that is easier, then I go to the next 5 and then I do a base color. For example, when I get tired of doing this guy, or before doing this guy, maybe I will do all the trousers, okay, on the guys at the back, or maybe I do the 15 of them. So in that way I'm combining a miniature finish, or finishing a miniature, versus the tedious work of applying base colors. And I think for me these are tips to keep motivated. So when you see that one miniature is finished, for me it's like a motivation to keep working on the unit and to keep doing that. Yeah, the thing I want to say, so just tips. First, have a test miniature. Be very clear how you want to put the colors and where to put the colors. Second, think if you want to keep to put differentiation, and put this differentiation if you can at the beginning, like in that case was the skin tones. If it's also have very clear the strategy of how the miniatures have to be painted. So which colors you have to apply first, which washes goes later, and so on. And later on, to keep your motivation, if you want to paint one miniature to the end, take this miniature out of the batch, paint it to the end, and you have one less in the batch. So it's a way to keep advancing and to combining some interesting jobs sometimes from a more repetitive job. And it's a way to keep motivated. So I hope these tips and this way to approach make sense for you. Maybe some people will approach this differently. The important thing is give rewards to you to keep motivated. If you are bored of doing the batch painting, the option is to have a character, okay, next to it that you're also painting at the same time, and you can jump from one project to the other. In that way, it's it will take longer, but it will be less boring to paint or to do batch painting. And that's all. That's all. There is a lot of planning. I think the most important thing when you do batch painting is the planning. So the order where you put the colors, which washes you want to do, and what highlights you're going to use. I think this is the most important point, and the only way to do that is to do first a test miniature. The other way to help you to do that is do in batches of 5. And in that case, I will not suggest you start as I did with the common squad, the common guys. Start with the first with basic guys. As you can see, my first guy was the basic one. I started doing now the champion, but I will recommend first you do first basic guys. And if you get bored of doing just very repetitive work, split the project in smaller portions. For example, in that case, I will suggest you split your projects in groups of 5. And that's all my tips. I hope this video was interesting for you, and if you have more questions about batch painting, or you have more you have more questions on how I approach different projects, please let me know. Soon I will talk as well how I face complex miniatures like Mortarion or other miniatures that require assembly and painting, and how I look at the sub-assemblies of the miniature. So that's all for that. I hope you find this video interesting. It's just a tip on how to approach batch painting. Leave the comments below. Let me know how you approach this type of units, how you paint them. And yeah, and as usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.